Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another live stream. My name is Hazik. Hopefully, everyone is doing great. The markets are doing great, that's for sure. So, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin. We're going to take a look at the expectations from investors as to whether the Fed is going to cut interest rates in September and July. And we're going to take a look at some altcoins. So, as always, if you have any altcoin requests, feel free to send them into the comments. All right. So the audio should be working fine. Yeah, I think the audio is working fine. There we go. All right, so taking a look at Bitcoin real quick. It's doing great. Like, I'm surprised how fast Bitcoin actually recovered. I thought it was going to take longer, but we're sitting at $67,500 already, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Let's take a look at this chart that I showed you. Let's switch to the daily and let's zoom in. So I give you the support block. If you remember, if you've watched the previous live streams, between $58,000 or $58,500 and $56,500. And we dipped into that area perfectly. And we had a few wicks down below 55,000, but that got bought up pretty quickly. As you can see, lots of buying pressure coming from below, and that's good to see. So essentially, we're hopefully gonna hold this bottom, hold this area, and not go below it. Even though I was expecting the weekly 55 EMA to be met, and the weekly sitting somewhere around $50,000, I believe it's over here. But that didn't end up happening. It just didn't. And then we bounced off the 10 EMA on the monthly chart. We don't have that right now here, but you can pull it up on yours. And it's doing, just a consolidation here for 5 months now. And we're waiting for the next leg up. So I was buying the dip, and I'm going to be buying even more. I think tomorrow we'll have another deposit coming in. So we'll have a trade alert on Patreon. As always, the Patreon is going to be down below in the description. So if you haven't joined the Patreon, make sure to take a look at it. And quickly touching on the interest rates. So give me 1 second. Did I close that? I think I closed the tab with the interest rates. Okay, interest, that's not it. So I think it was here. No, that's not it. That's Canada. Let's see. So essentially, because the CPI report came in better than expected, right now we're looking at a 90%. I don't think I'll be able to pull the page, but I'll leave a link to this down below in the comments. But essentially, the July FOMC meeting hasn't changed much. We're still going to be expecting a no change, essentially. And then when it comes to September, the expectation went up to 90%. So there's a 90% cut. We will be seeing a 90% chance we will be seeing a cut, which is pretty massive. It's pretty massive for, so there we go. Yeah, July 31st is the next one, and then September 18th. So this is going to be a no change. September will definitely start cutting, and if we start cutting in September, the Fed can keep up with their promise of 3 cuts in 2024. So we'll have 1 in September, 1 in November, and then 1 in December. And probably sometime in the first half of 2025, it's going to come down to 0. We'll see We'll see how fast they start cutting, but I assume they're going to start with a 0.25% decrease. They don't want to do it too quick, I guess, so they'll kind of go in slowly and see what happens, see how the markets react, see how the economy reacts. Hey there, Elorm, how are you doing? So again, September is expected to be a very bullish month with the potential cut. And we'll see if the markets are going to price that in beforehand, or will we see a massive reaction, especially after the meeting when we have the press conference with Jerome Powell. If he says something extremely bullish, that is going to drive the prices up, probably because markets like reacting to what that old man says for some reason. And then obviously we have BlackRock talking about Bitcoin, and we have Trump bringing up Bitcoin on his campaign, which is going to be massive, and it's yet to be confirmed. We don't know if he's going to keep up with all of his promises about crypto, but if he actually goes through and he makes the US the central hub, or like the central hub of crypto innovation, and he eases on all of the regulation and scrutiny, then markets could absolutely rally into 2025, into his election in January. So yeah, that's a little brief update on the interest rates. Elorm, how are you doing, my friend? Georgia Rudolph, hello, $50 for near exit is okay. It's okay, but again, we can't really expect something to happen just because we want it to happen. So I'm not going to be waiting until $50 to start selling or taking profits. So what we need to do is we need to have a strategy where we take profits along the way. So as we're going up, we're taking profit. So you could start selling potentially at the previous all-time high, which is around, I believe, $20. So you can sell at 20, then you can sell at 25, then at 30, then at 40, and so on and so forth. It depends on the allocation prescribed to each selling point. That depends on you. You could just take 5% off at the all-time high just to secure at least some profits, and then as you go up, you keep increasing the percentage of your selling bag, so to speak. And it's up to you. But I would not be holding my entire bag until $50. That's going to be very risky unless Near Protocol absolutely explodes towards the end of 2024 and it gets to like $30, $40 in October, November. Then yes, maybe we could see a $50 Near easily. But as of right now, let's see how Near Protocol performs. And if we take a look at Near Protocol, actually, it's performing really, really good. Let's go to the daily. Let's actually open the weekly. So you can see we have a retracement here back to the 1.414, which is essentially our December 2023 local top. We bounced from that area back in April, had a bit of a retracement, lower high, and then we came back and we filled the wick here essentially, which is something that happens all the time. You have a correction, you have your candle here, and you have a massive, massive wick. Then you start recovering, and then you have another dump. And with that dump, you start actually going back down to where the wick ended up going down to, and you start consolidating in that area. That's exactly what Near Protocol did here. And it's nowhere close to its February 2024 low. It's nowhere close to its October 2023 low. So it's doing extremely well. We have our wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. This is our wave 4. We're looking at that wave 5 move to the upside right now. And if we take a look at the weekly RSI, you can see we've recovered a bit. I don't see any divergences, to be honest with you. Let's go to the daily. Well, you should have been buying Near Protocol here because I did give you these levels. I did give you these prices at $4.45. We've made numerous updates on Near Protocol. If you caught, $4.50, you're up by 40%. That's pretty impressive, in less than a month. That's pretty impressive. 40% is a lot. So this is why you have to set up your buy limit orders in advance, just in case the price dips out of nowhere. You can secure that purchase at that specific level, and then you just have to wait, essentially. So Near Protocol is doing great. Now, if we were to go to $50 right now, the that would be around a 700% move to the upside. So an 8x. Can Near Protocol do an 8x from the current prices? It's possible. It's possible. It's going to be more or less around $50 billion market cap, I believe, right? Is Near Protocol sitting at, let's see, where is Near? There we go. $7 billion market cap. So, an 8x would put us at 56 essentially. It's around 1 billion tokens in circulation, 1.1 billion. So $56 billion, is that possible for Near Protocol? What do you guys think? Honestly, it's one of the most bullish blue chip coins. I'm so glad we got in with our patrons at like $1.50. So a bullish month is essentially a month where Bitcoin is, hey there, Dasha, where Bitcoin is performing extremely well. And if we look at the history of September, it's usually a very bullish month. And on top of that, if we have the interest rate cut, that's going to be even better. Doing good, doing good. Yulorm is one of our patrons. Pocket and VeChain. Let's take a look at Pocket. So $80 million. Now, full disclosure, I do own Pocket, and we've been getting into Pocket during the bear market. So we were getting our tokens on KuCoin. It's available on Gate as well, Upbit and Bybit. If we open a Pocket's chart, so we rode Pocket all the way up here. We were getting in, between 6 to 2 cents, essentially. It's a really good entry. And Pocket ended up doing a 2,200% to the upside. Right now, if you want to count this wick, of course, we're down 90%. If you want to count the top there, we're down 85%. It's just a pretty significant correction, but keep in mind it's a low cap, so that's what low caps do. And we're hoping to see this bottom, conclude somewhere around 4 cents. We don't want to drop back down to our September lows. That wouldn't be healthy. So keeping up an uptrend is very important. So a higher low here is going to be really good. And then the next time we go up, we want to be breaking the local top here. And we can set a Fibonacci retracement from that low. And let's just use that top there to be conservative. So the top in January, and then we're looking at $1.10 as our technical target. So from the current values, you're looking at 2,200% to the upside. Again, right now we're sitting at 0.0479. Let's go for Pocket. And let's say 1.1. So that would be a $1.9 billion market cap. That's a 22x from the current values. Can Pocket Network get to a $1.9 billion market cap? Possibly. I would probably take profits. I would probably start taking profits at like 50 cents or so. Otherwise, you're just going to get sucked into this hype and you'll never sell. So make sure to set your targets in advance. That's very important. That's why we have exit strategies on our Patreon. Again, the link is going to be down below in the description. So we've covered, I think, near there. We've done a exit strategy for Injective, for Solana, for Avalanche, for Cardano. Yeah, we've covered a bunch of tokens there. And then, yeah, so Pocket Network sitting at a very good buying price. If I did not have any Pocket Network tokens, I would be buying at these prices here. And it's a really good project at that. Really good Web3 project. So let's take a look at VeChain. Now, VeChain is not performing as well as some of the other projects. We're still way off from our all-time high, sitting at a $2.5 billion market cap. Again, with your expectations from projects like these, you have to be conservative, so you can't really expect 100x from a $2 billion market cap project. I would say a 10x maybe. A 10x maybe. And that again is going to break the previous all-time high. So let's take a look at the chart. And let's take a look at the weekly. Okay, so VeChain printed its bear market bottom in June 2023. From there, we went up approximately 315%, local top in March 2024, very usual, and then a 63% correction. So it's not doing terrible, but it's just not even close to its all-time high prices. And we're running into the 20 EMA on the weekly right now, which is not a good sign. We did, however, come back and retest this blue support block that I gave you from, it was between 0.0235 down to 2 cents. And we've retested that support area back in 2022, in 2023 even. And then we broke above it with this impulsive move from August into March. Now we're coming back down and retesting that as support. So hopefully we can hold this area as support. And even if we were to see another correction, we have to consolidate in this area before moving to the next one, or before having the next leg up. Because if you start losing your support over here below, what was that? Below 0.0134. What is that? Below 0.0134, then you're going to be looking at lower targets to the downside. You're going to be looking at this low from November 2020. And that's not going to be a good sign for VeChain. So I don't hold any VeChain, and I don't expect it to do extremely well this bull market. So best case scenario, in my opinion, is a retest of the previous all-time high at 25 cents. And that's what I have for VeChain. Unless something bullish happens, unless we have a major update, unless there's lots of demand coming for some reason, then I would shift my targets. Obviously, we could always apply the fib here on the weekly and see what we're going to be looking at. So we have 54 cents and 81 cents as our technical targets, but for that, you have to be breaking above the all-time high. Did you ever get some SBR? Yes, we got a bit of SBR. I'm down 70% from my point of entry into Pocket. Well, in this case, Louise, I would probably be dollar cost averaging. Of course, not financial advice, but if you're down more than 50% on a particular coin and you're still bullish on it, then I would definitely start at least putting little bits of money into it, because you want to bring in the average price as much as possible before the next leg up of this bull market. I was thinking that, yeah, I mean, Pocket is a pretty interesting project. So give me 1 second. There we go. Yeah, Pocket is a really good project, so I'm expecting it to do well. Whether it gets to a $2 billion market cap, we don't know. We'll see about that. But let's just go through the coins here, see how they're doing. Nakamoto has retraced a bit. What else do we have? And I did enter Nakamoto in my $10 portfolio. I have to do an update on that, by the way. The $10 portfolio that we had. Polygon Matic, Mina Protocol, all of these are sitting at very good prices. Moon River, if you're bullish on Moon River right now, is a good time to be buying. Let's take a look at Kusama. So we came back down to this potential support that we were looking at. There we go. Okay, so now we have a proper support trend line here, because for that we haven't really bounced off of it 2 times, but now since we have 2 bounces, there we go. Now this is a sideways channel or a channel up pattern, if you will. And then, of course, with a channel up pattern, we typically expect a breakdown from there. But since we are in a bull market, we would be expecting a move to the upside. But Kusama is not doing very good at all. I'm not going to lie. We're sitting at our October lows, essentially. And back to the all-time high, we would need a 2,600% ride. Is that going to happen? We'll have to wait and see. I do own Kusama, though. So we're sitting at a $350 million market cap. And our all-time high prices are at $600+. Not a lot of token dilution. Like, not a lot whatsoever. So it's not going to be, like, the market cap would still be around $5 billion once we, like, if we want to get back up to 600 and whatever the price was. Let's see again. Essentially, it's 600. Let's take a look at Kusama here and see. Let's do 600. It's a 9.1 billion. Oh, so there is token dilution. Why is it not too visible here on the chart? Am I missing something? It's almost a 2x in terms of market cap. There's no Kusama here. Let's take a look at Kusama here. What? There we go. Okay. So the all-time high market cap is $5.58 billion. Circulating supply is 100%. $15.2. So maybe I'm missing something. How is it possible that the market cap would be at 9.1 billion? Do you think SBR will still do okay? I mean, it's a low cap on Solana. It's a DEX. So you can't really, like, there has to be something that's going to drive people in. Is it going to pump because the entire Solana ecosystem will be pumping? Probably. Probably, yes. But is it a good enough DEX that it's going to attract a bunch of people? If we have a bunch of new Solana meme coins coming out and they'll be available on a bunch of Solana DEXs, then of course we have volume coming in. It's going to pump like crazy. But on its own, I don't think SBR is going to get to like a $5 billion market cap. And we're going to take a look at Kaspa and ICP in just a second, David. So yeah, I'm a bit confused with this whole Kusama thing. I'm not sure if you guys know anything about this. Let me know. Am I missing something? Was there a bunch of tokens added after the bull market top? Anyway, I'm going to look into it on my own. So Kaspa, $4.3 billion market cap. Congrats to everyone who has been buying in 2022 during the bull market. And we have 84% out in circulation, and the max supply is 28.7 billion tokens, which is pretty good. Let's take a look at the price action chart. Do I have it somewhere here? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I mean, if you look at the weekly chart, Kaspa is above the 20 EMA, which is the yellow line there. So that's really good. And the daily. So what's happening right now on the daily is that we're essentially sitting at all-time high prices. However, we do have this massive resistance block. And every time we get up to that area, we get rejected. So it is between 19 or essentially 20 cents down to 19 cents. And at some point, we are going to break above it. Obviously, the more touches you have with an area, the likelier it is that you're going to break it. And we have a nice ascending support trend line here that we're bouncing off of. Let me try to set it up properly. So we're getting squeezed up in between the EMA, the white support trend line, and then the resistance above us. So it's almost like you're in a rising wedge here that hopefully will result in a breakout. Yeah, but Caspa has been doing extremely bullish. I don't have any Caspa. Haven't been buying in. We gave you this support at 0.08 cents, 0.081-ish. And we wicked there back in January 2024. So that was a really good entry point if you managed to pick that up. And then you were looking at 135% to the upside from there. And let's see if we have any divergences with the RSI. Not really. Yeah, so we're going to stay in this little pattern, probably, like if we are going to be staying in it, it could lead us all the way into August. And then from August, we could have a breakout. Or we could have one beforehand, but usually if you're in an apex of a pattern, there's a very, very high chance you're going to see an explosion because compression leads to breakouts. Would I be buying Caspa at the current prices? Probably not. I mean, these are quite literally the all-time high prices. And if crypto has taught me anything, it's that you don't want to be buying all-time high prices. In the next bear market, if it's still around, sure. But not right now. Not right now. Let's take a look at a potential correction for Caspa, which it doesn't like doing much. But a potential entry point here would be this local top, which we have retraced back down to in June and then once again in July. But just in case we do once again, 14.5 cents is going to be a really good entry point. Let me just... Where's that balloon thing? Call out comment. Okay. So let's do a comment. So that's going to be your entry. Anything above 14.5, I wouldn't be even considering it. So to get to 14.5, we have to suffer a 20% correction almost. And that is possible. Like if we have some sort of a black swan, if we have something major happening in our world, something that would affect the entire financial system, then of course everything is going to drop, including Bitcoin, and then Caspa is no exception. So in that case, you could set up some buy limit orders in advance. If it happens, if it doesn't, just move over to a different altcoin. Don't tear your hair out of your head just because of Caspa. It's only one token. There are other tokens. Don't get too attached. Thanks. Do you think Theta will do better than VeChain? Yes, I do. It's just a more bullish narrative, like entertainment, streaming. And let's take a look at ICP. I should have ICP somewhere in here. No, I don't. So Velodrome. Arkham. Okay. So CQT is, being destroyed essentially. Let's take a look at, what did I want to look at? ICP. Let's take a look at the Binance chart. Actually, the chart looks pretty good. Forget about the fact that we're down from like those thousands of dollars. We're not going to be looking at that. Now, from the current values all the way up to the all-time high, that's a 745% to the upside, almost a 9x. And right now, ICP is sitting at a 4.7, so roughly at 10x. Let's say that's a $47 billion market cap. Do you actually think ICP is going to get to a $47 billion market cap? I don't think so. Not in this bull market, probably. Again, anything's possible. I'm not saying it's a bad project because of that, or you shouldn't invest into it because of that. I'm just trying to be realistic, and I wouldn't be buying ICP this time around in this bull market. And then if it sticks through the next bear market, I might get into it. I just might get into it and then stake, because they have like a 5-year staking system. You know, I might get some tokens and just stake them for 5 years. But definitely, this is not something that's going to make you a lot of money in this bull market, unless you're investing a lot of money, because that's another thing to understand. If you're putting in $500,000 into ICP and you're waiting for like a 3x or a 4x, you've made a bunch of money. You've made more money than probably most of us will make with 100x on some low caps. So that's something else to understand. If you have a large sum you want to invest into a safer project, into like a higher market cap project for like a 2-3x to make enough money, sure, that's a strategy you can incorporate. And then we have SBR here still printing a higher low in comparison to the low from October 2023. So it's doing pretty well, in all honesty. But let's say you wanted to enter ICP from the local top, or from the local bottom, sorry, we are up 250%. From the local top, we're down 52%. So it's an okay entry. I would have preferred entering at the 0.236, which is a level that I did give you, and the $7.40 area. Those two prices were, or those two areas were really good for DCAing. But if you want to start building a position, you could probably buy some tokens over here, because we're hitting the 20 EMA, probably going to get rejected back for a, a double bottom there, or maybe a higher low, whatever it is. And then if we start going down, just keep buying more and have those buy limit orders set up. Have them set up all the way down to this area, to the local bottom there at like $6 or so, just in case, just to be safe. The weekly RSI is doing well. We recovered from the overbought here, came all the way back down to our, May 2023 values, essentially. Okay. I want to take a look at the market in general. So Bitcoin's recovering very quickly, guys, very quickly. $1.3 trillion market cap. If we were to get to like 120, that's $2.6 trillion market cap or so. We'll see. We'll see how things play out. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. Do I have it here? There we go. So the Bitcoin dominance is starting to go up a little. We're still sitting at our all-time high values from November 2021. We're failing to break above that, which is the 1.618 chart here. Sorry, that's not the dominance. What am I doing? I was like, yeah, something's off about that chart. There we go. So look at the steep rise from the bottom in November 2022. And look at this. I've shown this many times, but I'm going to show it again. So look at this. Look at that section there, that fractal, from December 2020 to September 2021, or even like January 2022, because that's essentially when most of when all altcoins started pumping, or finished pumping, sorry. This is your alt season. when the dominance starts dropping like crazy. We haven't seen that yet. We saw minuscule corrections here back to the 20 EMA, back and forth, back and forth. We're holding the 20 EMA for now. Once the dominance is losing the 20 EMA on the weekly, that is your signal. That's your signal there that we're looking at an alt season. Then you have a rejection off the 20 EMA for confirmation, and down we go. So that's what we're going to be waiting here because we still haven't got a massive alt season. We've had, decent alt seasons, but not like a bull market, crazy bull market alt season yet, just yet. So that's something important to look at. And a lot of altcoins are still looking like good buying, are sitting at good buying areas. So Altura, for example, A-Star, Cosmos, AVAX, Boson Protocol, Polkadot, the Dimitra, Elrond or Multiverse X. Engine's not doing good at all. Engine's actually losing its October bear market, so this is not a good look for Engine. Energy Web is still in this descending, broadening wedge. Fetch is doing okay. It's not doing too bad. Filecoin is being weird as always, not doing anything. GLMR is back down to its September 2023 bottoms. So you can take a look at GLMR if you were wondering when to enter. Right now is a really good opportunity. IMX, it did come back down to our support block I gave you guys, but do you want to buy in right now at $1.64? I'd say that's not a bad idea. I think it's going to do well. $2.5 billion, even if it's like a 7 to 10x, still a decent project to get into. It's pretty safe project. And then again, it's in a very bullish niche. So it could go way past like $50 billion if things go right. Then we have Injective. Injective obviously doing extremely well. Our entries on Patreon were down here in September 2022. So we're chilling with this project, and potentially we're going to be looking at $100 for Injective. Potentially. So $100 would put Injective at a $9.7 billion market cap, and that is an upside of 269%. That's all it's going to take for us to get to $100. So I think it's more than possible. Okay, so we looked at all of those. And you have your layer 2s that are sitting down at these lows. They're printing higher lows, which is good, like Optimism, for example. What about Arbitrum? Where's good old Arbitrum? Yeah, Arbitrum's actually doing worse than Optimism. Orion Protocol is doing pretty good. Like it didn't even have such a big correction, 65%. Solana performing extremely well. Uniswap still doing okay. It's above its all-time low from October, or not all-time low, but its bear market low from October. And then you have this blue trend line as support at $6.33. Or is that around 20? Yeah, 30 cents. Yeah. And let's take a look at XRP actually. What's going on with XRP? So we actually came back down to our white support trend line that we've been holding since June 2022. That was a good entry. We gave you that a long time ago. That was a really good entry, to be honest with you. You're up 40% already from there. Can XRP get back up to like $3 from here? Maybe. But I wouldn't be looking at anything like $8 or anything past 4.3 essentially is off the table for me for XRP specifically, unless there's a major shift, which I don't know if they're going to do anything, if anything's going to happen because of the lawsuit. What's an alt season? An alt season is when altcoins are going through a massive pump because the liquidity from Bitcoin is switching over to altcoin. So they're going from the higher cap to mid caps and then to low caps. So this is our Bitcoin, and when Bitcoin's pumping, sometimes altcoins pump with Bitcoin, sometimes they don't. But then when it gets to a certain point where people think that's enough, so they start selling their Bitcoin into these higher cap altcoins. So like Solana, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, so those will start pumping. And then once those have pumped, then the liquidity switches to mid cap projects, which is like, below 2 billion market cap, into low caps, which is like below 100 million market cap. And that's what an alt season essentially is. And we have something called the alt season index, which is an indicator that I like to use. And obviously you can't really use this all the time and expect to catch the top every single time, but this is a good indicator of when the alt season is in full throttle mode. So for example, January 2024, we almost had like a very impressive breakout into an alt season, but then we corrected, which, not gonna lie, I was expecting a correction there because it didn't look realistic for Bitcoin to continue pumping and altcoins to continue pumping after they've done like 20, 30x. So we had this correction, and right now we were in Bitcoin season again in June. And as you can see here, we had a quick little pump into July, and now we're dropping back down a week later. So once we start making our move up, hopefully after September, after the first cut of the interest rates in the States, and once we're above the index of 75, that's when things get crazy. That's when you have to start thinking about taking profits, depending on, of course, your targets, what the altcoin has done. And it's a per altcoin basis, obviously, but this is more so like a general look at the altcoin and Bitcoin index. Something else you can look at is the total 3 market cap, which is the market cap of all altcoins except Bitcoin and Ethereum. So what we had here essentially is a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, which was our biggest impulsive wave, and then a wave 4, which hopefully played out here in July. So we bottomed out in July like we always do over the past 4 years. And now we're looking at a wave 5. So where will this wave 5 take us is yet to be seen. But we're looking for this wave 5 to at least take us to $1.5 trillion. So that means the entire altcoin market cap, the entire value, so the value of all the altcoins except Bitcoin and Ethereum is going to be sitting at $1.5 trillion. And then you have Bitcoin potentially getting to 2.5 trillion. So that's like $4 trillion in total. Is that going to happen though? We don't know, but looks very likely in my opinion. And again, it's a pretty conservative bet. 1.5 trillion is not even a lot. It's not even a lot. So that's what an alt season is. And we'll take a look at Kujira. Dasha is getting Dasha is a newcomer to crypto, so she's just learning. Okay, let's take a look at Kujira. $140 million market cap. So the entire supply is out in circulation. That's really good. So there's not going to be any token dilution, which means we won't have like price suppression because of all of these sellers. Kraken. Okay, you have this on Kraken, so you can get it on Kraken, Osmosis. I would avoid MEXC when possible. Not a lot of good things I hear from users on MEXC. So try to avoid that when you can. And let's open up the chart here. So the bottom we had was around December 2022. We saw 1.7,000% move to the upside. From there, we dumped approximately 82%. So from the bottom, we're up 290% still, which is pretty good. And then essentially we came back down to retest this previous top from June 2023. So technically we're doing everything we need to be doing, because you have a resistance, you hit your head on it, and then you break above, you back test it as support from above here, right? You came above, come back down, and then your next leg up is, whenever it comes around. But the fact that we're not dropping below this level is really, really good. So that's around $1 or so. And this is a really good entry point for anyone trying to get into Kujira, I would say. If it dips even lower, so be it. Like, we're not trying to catch the bottom here, but 82% correction is more than enough to have someone consider entering. We can just add that little block there. That way it's easier for you. Yeah, so as you can see, this red block represents a bunch of resistance bounces that we had like in 2022 and 2023. Then finally we broke above it. We're coming back down to that same level, consolidating and moving to the upside. I don't hold any Kujira, full disclosure, so I'm not invested in this project. Just giving you what I think on the chart. But what is this project though? Cosmos layer. Oh, this is exactly. Because I keep seeing it in my Kepler wallet, but I haven't looked into it. Projects creating true value. Let's open up. Because I remember someone suggesting me Kujira. So Kujira is a blockchain revolutionizing fintech for Web3 builders, dApps, and protocols. Most importantly, we recognize none of this matters without users driving adoption of next generation digital wealth and commerce solutions. So this is like an ultra community governance-based project, I guess. Which is why we emphasize great user experiences and operational sustainability. This approach has attracted a loyal and engaged community of users and builders who share our philosophy. The opportunities we're making available to everyone may once have been reserved for the few, but that's changing. Our inspiration draws from the belief that everyone deserves access to tools and services to create wealth. We create a better future when these opportunities are shared more widely than the privileged, the elite, and the wealthy. DeFi powered by sustainable yield. Earn 100% of network fees and secure the network without IL. So these are just validators here. What's the percentage though? Doesn't it give me a percentage? Uptime. Max rate is 20%. Okay. Interesting. I like the fact that the entire supply is out already. That's a really good thing. And then is the team doxed here? Developers. Our semi-professional nature keeps the chain. Let's go to their Twitter. Seems like they're anonymous, which isn't a bad thing. Not always. Truly monumental shift in the Kujira house. It seems like they are not doxed, but let me know. We're going to take a look at Quant, my friend. We'll take a look at Quant. We'll take a look at ADA. So Divin, I would say right now is a good entry price for Kujira. Of course, not financial advice. But I'll definitely save this project to my watch list, and I'll take a look at it. Now, $141 million market cap, that's really, really low. Hello, Hazik. All the best from Manchester, England, which is now like Pakistan. Well, to be fair, the English did go into India, and they stayed there for a long time. So I guess they're returning the favor. No reason to be upset about that. Okay. Season. Okay, let's take a look at ADA. Now, full disclosure, I do have ADA. So the market cap is sitting at $15.6 billion. So obviously a super high market cap project. Now, what we're looking at here is not a terrible chart, but not great either. So from the current prices, we're looking at a 600% move to the upside, all the way back up to the all-time high prices from April 2021. That's essentially a 7x. And then if we set up a Fibonacci retracement from the bottom prices there, we're looking at $5 as our 1.272 target. That's like 1,251%. Can we do that? I don't know. I honestly don't. But we're going to be shifting our targets if some projects are underperforming, for example, by the time Bitcoin breaks, 100K. If some projects are still not anywhere close to their all-time high prices, then we have to either shift our targets. We either have to look at some other projects and try to capitalize on them before, it's time to be selling, before it's too late. And then again, you have to be careful doing that because you don't want to buy into something that's already pumped. So it's going to crash after you buy into it. And then the token you sold is going to start pumping. That happens a lot. So be very careful with switching during like a bull market, during a full-on alt season. And always use critical thinking. Like, let's say Bitcoin is sitting at $150,000 right now and Cardano is sitting at like 90 cents. Do you honestly think it's getting to $5? I don't think so. I really don't. So we'll have to see if we get back up to the all-time high sometime in the first half of 2025. Hopefully January, February, we'll see. And then maybe we have a little wick to the upside to $4 or so. But that's, again, me adding a bit of hopium in there. But I'm still staking. I'm still holding. Whatever we do, I'm still going to be I'm going to sell at a pretty good profit because our entries are all the way down here during the bear market once again. That's why you're not going to be as stressed out, even if your project doesn't do as well as some of the other ones. As long as you bought in the bear market bottoms, whether you sell at $5 or $3, you're still selling at a pretty massive profit. Okay. So that's a quick little breakdown for Cardano. And if you don't have any tokens right now, feel free to start averaging in. These are good prices. Like from the local top, from the local top, we're down approximately 60%, like to our bottom. But if we look at the current value, for example, we're down only 45%. So still a good entry point. 43 cents is pretty good. Even if you're selling at like $2.50, if you're looking for a super, super safe altcoin, then yeah. If you don't really care for something that's only going to do a few X's and it's a safe investment, then you can skip Cardano altogether. No one's saying you have to buy into it right now. How about ORN, Orion Protocol? So we'll do Orion and we'll do Quant, and that's it. We'll start wrapping up because we're sitting at getting closer to an hour now. I feel like nothing is going to reach all-time high, not being negative about it. Well, it really depends on the project and the niche the project is in. It depends on the tokens, right? If they're burning tokens, like on the supply, I mean, depends on the supply. But some projects won't. We have good examples from before with projects like Dash, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic, and some of the OG coins, you could say. So there is no guarantee that any projects are going back to all-time high. But I do think some of them will, and some of them will break their all-time highs. For example, Injective did that, and it's performing very good right now. So let's quickly take a look at Orion Protocol. So $50 million market cap. This is still a low cap. We have 34 million tokens in circulation. Max supply is 100 million. So we have a max supply. We have a cap. That's really good. Let's take a look at their website. I haven't been on there in a bit. So essentially, Orion is like a mixture between a DEX and a SEX, which is a centralized exchange. And a DEX is a decentralized exchange. But they did update their website. Refer and earn, that's something new. Haven't seen that. Products, technology. Okay. So there's their launch trading terminal. And you can connect pretty much any wallet you want. You can connect the OKX exchange wallet. Look, you can set limit orders. I mean, if they have some good marketing, this thing could absolutely explode. So we'll see once we have the next alt season, we'll see how they deal with all of the volume coming in. But I've been in Orion Protocol for like a few years now. Been accumulating some tokens throughout the bear market, and we'll see how well it performs. We'll see how well it performs. Now, taking a look at the price action chart. Okay, so we're on the weekly. Again, we didn't drop as much as some of the other altcoins, only 65%, which is pretty impressive. Then we did a 7x from the bear market bottom in October 2023. We wicked back down to $1.18, which was our support. And then we went up 42% from there. So this was a really good buying price because this was our top in May 2023 and in February/March 2023. So we had a resistance rejection from there, then a breakout above that level, and a back test of support. Not a proper back test, I'll be honest, just a wick below. So we grabbed some liquidity from there, and now we're kind of consolidating around the 20 EMA. So it's still possible we're going to drop down to $1.18. If you want to set up some buy limit orders around that price, feel free to do so. And if you don't have any tokens at the moment, I would say it's a pretty good time to buy because, again, the market cap is only sitting at $50 million. Whether we're going to get back up to the same all-time high prices, I don't know. I would say $10 is going to be a pretty good target for now, and then we'll see what happens after that. We'll take a look at the timeline of our bull market when we're sitting at $10. If it's sometime in 2025, then yeah, I'm just selling. If it's going to be in the next few months, then we'll obviously have to expect slightly higher targets by the end of the bull market, like naturally speaking. And then we have QNT, which is quant. And I believe I have quant somewhere in here. There we go. So a $911 million market cap. 12 million tokens in circulation, very low supply, and 14.8 is our max supply. So we're sitting at 81%, 81% circulating from the max supply, which is good. Whenever it's a super low circulating supply, that's not a good sign. You have to look at the vesting schedule. In that case, you want to see how much of the tokens does the team hold, the investors, the marketing team, backers, etc. And then you want to look at the vesting schedule, because if they have an aggressive unlock schedule, and for example, they have like 3% coming out every month, that's going to be massive. And what ends up happening is that they pump the price and then they start selling once they have their tokens unlocked. Or sometimes what VCs do is they invest in a project that's going to have a staking scheme where they force you to stake tokens, essentially lock up all of your tokens for some rewards, for obviously staking rewards, while the team is going to be unlocking their tokens at a much faster rate than you're going to be earning them from staking, and they'll be able to dump without really affecting the price too much for themselves. And then, of course, after they dump, the price is down, so it doesn't really matter anymore. You could still be staking your tokens, but you're making pennies. So that's something to take a look at. And then in terms of quant, the all-time high is sitting at $366. That's a $4.4 billion market cap. If we take a look at the coin perspective, so what's the all-time high again, just to be precise? So 300, let's do like 370. So that would be a $5.4 billion market cap, 390%. So essentially, there was a bit of token dilution, not massive amounts of tokens coming into the circulation, which is good to see. What is also good to see is the fact that we are printing a higher low, so we're not sitting back down at this June low. However, from 2022, we did break below our green support block over here. That was a pretty important area that we were holding as support for the longest time, if you exclude this little drop in 2022 with the Luna crash. But then we recovered, we held it as support multiple times. This time around we couldn't, so it's not looking good right now for quant. We'll see what happens. In a bearish scenario, we would be coming back down to $49, which, if you're bullish on the project, is not a bad thing necessarily, because you can get an opportunity to dollar cost average at a very low price, at essentially all-time low prices at $50. So it's too early to talk about any major bull market targets for QNT. We'll have to see how it performs. We'll have to see if it can properly break above $167, which is our golden ratio on the Fibonacci retracement, so the 0.618. If you don't know how to use the Fibonacci retracement, go to my main page on the channel and go to the technical analysis playlist. You'll have a review of the Fibonacci retracement where I show you how I use it and how you can use it to set up targets to the downside and to the upside. So once we see a nice reversal of this downtrend, because we're still essentially in this downtrend from, this top in October 2022, as you can see. So hopefully we'll see a breakout sometime soon, maybe in September once we have the interest rate cut. Hey, Zeke, I appreciate your channel. And TA, keep it up. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate all the comments. Feel like nothing. Okay, we looked at that. Awesomistic. No problem, my friend. No problem. So we won't have any time to take a look at any other projects, unfortunately. But I appreciate all of you joining in. Once again, if you haven't looked at our Patreon, feel free to do that. We have a 7-day free trial for anyone looking to join in. You can get access to all of my content instantly, which includes exclusive podcasts, TAs, more than 80 low caps, our portfolios, all of our trade alerts, etc., etc., etc. So that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow with another live stream. Bye-bye.